Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Our today's topic is circulatory system of the frog. Every cell requires a supply of oxygen and nutrient molecules and must get rid of the waste products. For this purpose, a transport system, usually called circulatory system, is required. Blood transports these materials or nutrients during its circulation throughout the body. Students, frog has a closed type circulatory system in which blood circulates in closed vessels or closed circuit of blood vessels being pumped by an organ called heart. This system is also called the cardiovascular system, and it consists of heart and three kinds of vessels: arteries, veins, and capillaries. At first we will see heart. Heart is a conical muscular pumping organ located in the anterior region of the body cavity. It is enclosed in a membrane called pericardium. It contracts and expands continuously throughout the life. The contraction and expansion of the heart is called heartbeat, due to which blood circulates continuously in the body. Frog heart consists of three chambers: right auricle or atrium, left auricle or atrium, and ventricle. Auricle or atriums are the same words for atrium. Ventricle is single chambered. It is the most important part of frog hearts. It is conical in shape with a thick muscular wall. After heart, now we have right atrium. Right atrium is a chamber of the frog's heart which receives blood from the sinus venosus. Then we have left atrium. It is the chamber of heart that receives blood from the lungs. Pulmonary vein, the blood vessels that carry blood from the lungs to the left atrium, is called pulmonary vein. It is the only vein which contains oxygenated blood because the blood is coming after oxygenation from the lungs. Then posterior vena cava is there. It is a large vein that carries blood from the posterior part, means the lower part of the body, towards the heart. Obviously it would have deoxygenated blood. Then anterior vena cava, it is a large vein that carries blood from the anterior, means upper part of the body, towards the heart. It would have deoxygenated blood. Then ventricle is there. Ventricle is that chamber of frog's heart that pumps blood out of the heart to the lungs and the other parts of the body, and it would pump oxygenated blood. Then we have sinus venosus. Sinus venosus is also called the accessory chamber of frog's heart. On the dorsal surface of the heart, two precavals and one postcaval fuse to form white chamber called sinus venosus. It is a thin-walled, dark-colored triangular structure which opens into the right auricle with deoxygenated blood. It receives impure blood from all the body parts and pour it into the right auricle. You can see the triangular sinus venosus in this diagram. Then we have truncus arteriosus. It originates from the ventral side of the ventricle and divides into two branches, each of which divides into three arteries. The name of those three arches are carotid arch, which will go to brain; systemic arch, which will go to all the systems of the body; and pulmonary arch, which will go to lungs. Students, trunk, arch, and arteries have the same meanings. In this diagram, dorsal and ventral view frog's heart are shown. First we will discuss the dorsal view. On the left side, right branches of the truncus arteriosus are there, the three arches. Then precaval is there, right auricle is there, which is also called right atrium. Truncus arteriosus is there, left auricle is shown, and ventricle is shown. In the right side of the dorsal view, systemic trunk, that is systemic arch; pulmonary or pulmocutaneous trunk, which is pulmonary arch; precaval vein is also shown. Then pulmonary vein, which will go to the lungs for oxygenation. This is the only vein which contains oxygenated blood. Then pericardium is the protective layer of heart is there. Now on the right side of the ventral view, we have sinus venosus, that is a triangular structure. Both precavals are shown. Right branches of truncus arteriosus are shown. Pause this video and read all the labeling parts carefully. Now in this slide, we will see the journey of blood in the body. The deoxygenated blood from all the body part will enter into the sinus venosus. From sinus venosus, it reaches the right auricle. When the right auricle contracts, the blood is pushed into the single ventricle. When the ventricle contracts, Ventricle contracts, the blood is pushed into pulmonary artery, which will lead to lungs for oxygenation. Remember, this is the deoxygenated blood from the body, and the pulmonary artery is the only artery which contains deoxygenated blood. Then it will go to pulmonary. After oxygenation, the blood will go to pulmonary vein. Now this oxygenated blood is in pulmonary vein, which is the only vein which contains oxygenated blood. Now the oxygenated blood from the lungs enters the left auricle through pulmonary vein. When left auricle contracts, it will push the blood into ventricle. Now the ventricle contracts to push the blood into truncus arteriosus. Now from truncus arteriosus, blood would have two paths. Number one is systemic artery, number two is carotid artery or carotid arch. The systemic artery is the artery which supply it to all the body parts, the oxygenated blood to all the body parts, and the carotid artery will supply the blood to the brain. The opening between various chambers of the heart are guarded by valves which prevent the flow of blood in reverse direction. Means it only allows the one-way direction of blood flow. In this way, the oxygenated blood is circulated all over the body and deoxygenated blood is filtered through lungs. Jazakallah.